Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge television, radio, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning 2 p.m. on the Eastern time zone, as I get right home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on television. I don't know if I told Chuck and Mary Lynn about this, but we're back on channel 182, Charter Communications. That's close to Huntsville, Alabama. So we're real proud to be back there as well. We're also on Abundance Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on thenewscasters.com. Continue watching us, also listening to us on the radio, WZLA radio. They're out of Abbeville, South Carolina, the biggest country station around, and we're real proud to be part of that one as well. I'll get the words out in just a minute. I don't know what's happened. I've been on a trip, so here I go. But thank you again. So however you watch us, we appreciate it. We've got another way you're going to be able to listen to us and find us as well. Can't tell you yet. It's about 2 weeks down the road, but I'll give you a hint. It's something to do with a new kind of a newspaper, if that makes any sense. So anyway, we'll be talking about that a little bit later. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of intrigue you and let you know you're going to have another way of finding us. All the social media sites, by the way, still Facebook, still MeWe, still everything. We appreciate those ways that you watch and listen to us as well. I have Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey with me right now. And I encourage you to continue sending email because you guys are loaded down with questions. Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna's at donnasedge.com. I don't know how many could be possibly the same question because I've not even looked at them. I just did a copy and a paste. So we've got all of those questions coming in. Before you get started, though, we've got some new listeners, and we seem to have new ones every single time you guys come on the show. How did you get started with fair tax, and what in the world is it?
Whoa. That was way back when. We used to listen to Neil Bortz on the radio over in Atlanta when we lived there. And, of course, he's a big proponent of it. Wrote a couple of books with John Linder and what was that other guy's name? His underling, Rob Woodall.
Oh,
and
I didn't know you were talking about.
And it was quite the flair. We took a little trip up to one of the conventions, and we had 8,000 people there back in the fair.
In South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina. And the politicians, of course, didn't want to talk to us because it takes all their power away if you get the fair tax. So anyway, that's and that was back in way back young.
I think Huckabee was running at the time. Was it
2007?
Yeah, it was interesting. We had a big convention. Like Chuck said, 8,000 people were there. Right next door, they were having the presidential debates, and they had us march around in front of the cameras. And CNN never did cover it. And there really were not that many people.
There were about 10 or 15 people there protesting something, and that's what they spent all their time.
I don't remember what that was.
Even Fox spent all their time.
They didn't even interview. I mean, this is a lot of people. If 8,000 people is a lot of people.
And everybody's got fair tax shirts.
Yeah. Anyway, that was back then. But the first time I ever heard of the concept was in the early 1980s. Jack Anderson was a
journalist.
Well, yeah,
news reporter.
He actually had a column in one of the newspapers. He was
reporter.
And he mentioned the idea, and I thought, well, this. At first, it sounded really kind of high to me. It was 23%. I thought that's a lot, but over time, I realized that it included Social Security and Medicare, which is 16% of your income right now. So by the time you add 7%, you're paying less than you would in income tax, and you're paying it as you choose when you purchase new goods and services. So it really is. It's an awesome way to pay. It's when you look. This is the 250th year of the United States. that is the ultimate freedom, knowing you can pay taxes, help support your country, but also pay the taxes when you're able and when you're ready. So,
and 250 years ago, our founding fathers said, we don't want no stinking income tax.
Right. They didn't want a direct tax.
We lived on excise and tariffs up until 1913.
Right. Lynn infamy, I think it's almost worth the 1941.
Loony things happened then. They had the representatives are supposed to represent you as a people, and then senators are supposed to represent the state, which means that the state legislature used to pick the senators. And they got real smart and made that a popular vote too. And so now we've got two houses.
And actually,
we don't have the Senate and the House. We have two houses.
Yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with the fair tax, but what that did is take the emphasis off the local elections, because back when the state was picking the senators, the local elections were really important because they were the ones that made that determined what party controlled the House and controlled the legislature that would pick those senators. So. It was very smart of the communists to do that, but that's what they do.
Well, also the Federal Reserve started that year too. So you had the triple whammy: the income tax, or the 16th Amendment, and the senators being made a popular vote, and also the Federal Reserve. It's just wham, wham, wham. We can thank our friend. The president at the time.
Okay, we're getting old here. Starts with a W.
Yeah, Wilson.
Woodrow
Wilson.
Yeah, Woodrow Wilson. So.
Yeah, it seems to me like it's kind of been a planned design.
Absolutely.
Definitely, because you see all these things falling into place to get us where we are now. And so, which brings me to this guy right here. And his name is Tom. And Tom said, let's see, I lost my train of thought. Where was he at? Okay, let's see. Why do you believe the fair tax is better than alternative to paying income taxes?
What's alternative?
The alternatives, I think, is for paying taxes. So
well, right now, your alternative is the income tax, because you have the IRS and that whole law and everything that covers it. And what a lot of people don't understand that when the fair tax becomes law, the IRS has 3 years to bug out. They've got 3 years to clean the books and get out of town, because they'll be defunded after 3 years.
Well, the alternative, when you choose when you pay the taxes, it actually gives you freedom. With the IRS, you've got the reason we have an IRS is to make sure it's an instrument of force. Because if you were going to pay your income taxes, you could just mail it in. The IRS is to make sure that you mail it in, and to make sure you mail in the right amount. So it is an instrument of force, and there is no freedom involved in it. And it also is a tool in the hands of whatever party is in power. The fair tax, actually, we had a 501c3 that we had a very, very difficult time having it become a 501c3, and actually won a lawsuit against the government, because it was during the Obama administration. They were, Lois Lerner and so on. They were picking and choosing. So, and also with the income tax, you don't have any idea of how much money you're paying, you're paying in taxes, because unless you want to keep your receipts, and you're double taxed. So
in some places you're triple taxed by the way it's done.
Yeah. So it's I can't think of anything good about the income tax. I really can't. I mean,
well, the thing about it is, the income tax is the second plank of the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's an instrument of control. If you like being controlled, that's your choice. But I don't like it.
And
I'm thinking, you work hard, and you're here legally, and you feel like, and this brings on another one. This is what this guy right here says. He says, I really don't have a problem paying income tax, but how can we have more control on how they spend it?
Well, that would be good, and that would be another.
It would be something for somebody else to take on as a project.
Yeah, I would be willing to take on that project after we have the fair tax, because, and one thing that it might in have an effect on the spending is that when people, currently you have politicians saying, we're not going to tax you. You're okay. We're just going to tax the man behind the tree. Well, then they go out and plant trees, and so you're going to be behind the tree eventually. But the other thing is that when they say we're not going to tax you, we're just going to raise taxes on the millionaires and the billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are only so many of those. And if they took every penny that every millionaire and billionaire, and even Elon Musk, who's a trillionaire, took all of their money, they'd never pay taxes again, because that why would you work for nothing? Why would you commit yourself to being a slave to the government?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so they could say we'll raise the taxes 50% or whatever on those people.
Mm-hmm.
With the fair tax, everyone pays the same tax rate. So if they raise the taxes, you're going to notice, and you're not going to be able to say, well, I don't want to pay it, but we'll make him pay it. It won't work that way.
Oh, that's not the way that it works.
Yeah. And for people who believe that socialism and communism are fair, that's slavery, and it's institutional slavery.
It most certainly is. It's the best way I know to go out of business. But let's be real here. Okay, so let's say you're in the dream world where only the rich are going to pay the biggest amount of the taxes. First of all, the rich, there's a reason that attorneys aren't cheap. Okay, so when you own a business and you have an attorney on staff,
Mm-hmm.
what does that really tell you?
It tells you that they will always be ready when somebody attacks their pocketbook.
Well, and also the rich actually have a way of manipulating the tax code anyway. Most, I remember John Edwards. Do you remember John Edwards, who ran for president? He was a self-made man.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't mind paying. He's a Democrat. Didn't mind paying taxes. Well, it turns out he didn't have an income. He made his money.
He lived off of capital gains, and that sort of thing.
So capital gains is always less, because we want people to invest in the country,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always less. So he paid fewer taxes than someone who I don't know what the capital gains tax was at that time. It was probably in the 20s, but it was much less. It was less than 39%, which is what the.
So are you telling me he didn't tell the whole story? I'm shocked.
You should.
Well, they're not millionaires and billionaires because they're stupid.
Yeah.
And the ones that inherit the tax, sometimes they are stupid, and they're the ones that commit to communism. But no, they didn't make their money because they weren't smart.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can. I always laugh when I think AOC said that Elon Musk is one of the stupidest people she ever met.
I happen to think she is.
I was going to say she never looked in the mirror.
Yeah. I don't know how anybody. I mean, you're Democrat, Republican, or whatever you are, that you would say Elon. That's stupid. Let's just go on.
Right.
It's incredible. Okay, so here's a good one for you right here. How would the fair tax affect the average American family? Because we feel like the middle class is shrinking.
It would lift them up, because first thing that happens is the IRS goes away after 3 years, and you only pay this tax when you buy something new or a service, and for your own personal use.
And also with the prebates, you don't pay any taxes up to the poverty level
for your family.
So and it depends on family size, not income. Mm-hmm. So if you make $100,000 a year, say, and you are a family of four, the first approximately $40,000 is absolutely tax free. Mm-hmm. The $60,000 that's left, if you spend every penny
on new goods and services,
goods and services,
right, your tax rate is effectively it's around 15%. It's because if you take the prebate, that 23%, diminishes, it becomes, in math they call it an asymptotic curve. It starts out at 0 and never reaches. If you take the prebates, you never actually pay the 23%.
Never reach the plateau of 23.
And it's only on new goods and services. So you can buy used goods. You can determine how your money is spent, and you can know how much you're paying in taxes.
And we really truly mean it when we say you can determine when you pay taxes rather than the government telling you how much tax to pay on it.
Right.
Well, that's pure freedom right there.
It's actually it's been said that the fair tax is the largest transfer of power from the federal government to the people since the Revolutionary War.
That'd be Independence Day.
Yeah, that would be because that's coming up. That's going to be this coming. That would be a wonderful Independence Day.
That'd be the way to celebrate. It really would be.
I wouldn't know what to do. I'd probably die of a heart attack. I wouldn't be able to believe it. So I probably wouldn't last. So that would be an awesome way. So we have somebody else who has said she doesn't want to tell us where she lives, but she said that she lives in a part of the country when she has yard sales or garage sales, she has to pay taxes on that.
Oh, I know where she lives. Yeah. No. I'm sorry.
But why in the world would you be responsible for paying taxes on a yard sale?
Because the government, especially a socialist government, is so greedy. They want every penny.
She's not making this up.
No. That's absolutely true. And in fact, I've seen it where you have a child with a lemonade stand, if they even allow it. A lot of places won't even allow that because of regulations, but they would actually tax that.
Uh-huh.
They have people who monitor. They will check the papers. They monitor where there are garage sales, and the people that have the garage sale are actually responsible for income tax.
Well, she said she doesn't report this, and she hopes that's why she doesn't want even the state mentioned.
Well, I don't blame her.
She doesn't. She said, I don't. She said she didn't feel like she was doing anything wrong either. She said this is you stuff, and she's having to pay tax. I mean, so what does she do? Okay, let's explore this just a little bit, because around here you used to have yard sales and you're done with it. So where she lives, does she have to get permission from the city? I mean, how does she do this?
It depends on where you live. I'm not totally familiar with all of that, but I have heard anecdotes of people who have been, especially young people who have not, they're starting out. They might have some things that they can get rid of and actually bring in some money.
Yeah.
But yeah, once something is taxed with the fair tax, it's never taxed again. With the income tax, it's taxed every time it moves. So, when you earn it, you're taxed before you even get it. And then anytime you spend it, if you save, that money is taxed. So, it's just,
that's the fun, because I've had yard sales before and they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had one in years, but anyway, I have yard sales. Can you imagine having a yard sale and every single person who comes up to your yard, you have to be suspicious? Could it be somebody from the IRS? Could it be somebody from the county or whatever?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
The people that should be really for the fair taxes are young people, because the income tax system is set up for them to pay the bill and for us old folks to live off their bounty after we retire. So it's
especially
they should really be for it, because then everybody is equal throughout their lifetime.
In Alabama, we have an income tax that the people who are on pensions, I always forget the name of it. Anyway, if you have a pension, defined benefit. Thank you. So if your benefit stays the same throughout the life of the pension, that's a defined benefit. If you have a state pension, if you have a federal pension, if you have Social Security, those are not taxed. Military, yeah. Any federal pension is not taxed. So the people who are paying the tax, they're the ones who are just starting out making money.
Yeah.
And
trying to build their family,
build and actually when their expenses are at the highest. So it's really unfair. It's something that everyone should be against. And the people who are out, these No Kings rallies and all, they ought to be forefront in the fair tax movement.
Because,
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you just brought up a great point. And this is the young people need to be the ones out here parading fair tax.
Right.
Because if things keep going the way they are going, I don't think they're going to be able to draw Social Security. So they better make sure they got a nice nest egg saved up.
Yeah. Well, and the people who are on Social Security now only have a few years left. They're talking about cutting benefits at least 20% by 1933 or 2033. That number floats, so it could be a different number today, but it's not going to be long.
You better not have a Democrat in office when that year rolls around.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Because I'm just going to tell you, you're going to be in rough shape. And in some Republicans, I'm not beating just Democrats. I'm beating up a bunch of Republicans at this point as well.
Mm-hmm. And one of them, a big name, is John Thune. If you haven't written him a note or called his office, you look negligent, because that he is he's not doing his job, or he's not working for the country. He's working for someone else.
Yeah, that's the problem when you start seeing. And I want to mention this one thing that we've got to go into a commercial break. And this is when elections are happening. You might want to pay attention to how much money is being given to someone and where it is coming from.
Follow the money.
Before you vote with someone, absolutely follow the money. Because I'm going to tell you what, people get beholden to people who contribute to their candidacy.
Well, if they want the money, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to, they're going to have to kind of go with the way they swing. That's why I'm saying if Donna Feazell could be charged of the whole election, this is what I would do. First of all, everybody gets a meal. That's it. You're not going to get a penny more. Everybody gets $1 million. If you spend it all within a month, that's your problem. Okay, you got to go find other ways to get it. But it needs to be that, and also there needs to be term limits, not forever and ever and ever until you croak at 101 years old on your bench.
Yeah.
Because I'm at 67. Never mind. No, I think I'm sharper than a lot of young people are. You know why? Because we had the plain old reading, writing, and arithmetic when I went to school.
Correct.
So you also didn't have the Fabian Society, which is a socialist.
Yeah. Yeah. We were scared to death of it. I remember I think it's 4th grade social studies, and the teacher was talking about, Hitler and Tojo and all these people. That made a big impression on my mind. It's like, oh my God, all these people were killed and all, I don't want to see that. Well, I'm very patriotic because those teachers were able to teach the real history. Mm-hmm. And so I still don't want it to happen. I want America to be safe. And I've been to other countries before. I'm just telling you, we got liberties here. I mean, even as rough as it is, that's why people risk their lives to come to this country.
Right.
But you need to do it the right way, folks. Okay. My daughter-in-law from Russia did, and you can too. Let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. We appreciate you watching us and listening to us every chance and every way you possibly can. By the way, I don't want you in trouble at work, so the show does air live at 2 p.m. But you can always go back and go to Facebook.com. So if you would like to at least see some of the previous shows from Chuck and Mary Lynn Bailey, all you've got to do is go up to the little search engine up there on Facebook, type in Donna Feazell and Mary Lynn Bailey, and you'll be able to find some shows.
All right.
Go ahead and do that. You can go back and see some of the old ones when the show was like very new. And so they've been on the show with me a really long time. Definitely appreciate that. We've got a lot of questions. Continue sending email, by the way, Donna at donnasedge.com, Donna at donnasedge.com. You got several of these. What is the prebate and how would it work?
Okay, the prebate is based on family size only.
All right, let's start off with the prebate is our version of the standard deduction,
Right.
but it's treated oppositely in.
Well, because the income
Colleague would
tax
say.
actually, the federal government has control of your money before you ever get it with
Right.
the income tax. With fair tax, the government has no control over the money until you spend on new goods and services. So the standard deduction would be, well, our prebate is no, you pay no taxes up to the poverty level for whatever your family circumstances are. If you make $1 million a year, if you make $10 a year, it doesn't matter. Your family size is what counts. And so the prebate is, we have, Chuck knows the numbers better than I do. I always forget what the numbers are, but a family of four can make approximately can spend approximately $40,000 a year without paying any taxes at all. And the way that is implemented is you pay the tax when you buy new goods and services, but each month you receive 1/12 of the amount of the whatever the deduction is, the
prebate,
depending on your family size. So if it's one person, it's about $12,000.
No, it's.
I'm sorry,
It's $15,000 or $16,000.
Right, and you can spend approximately. Okay, again, the numbers they change every year. So, but approximately a single person can spend approximately $1,200 a month.
It changes every year, and it always goes up because cost of living goes up.
I was about to implement that. It's the cost of living and the way that grows. So it's not hurting you at all. They're already looking out after you. Even for years we talk about this.
Right. So, but again, here in Alabama, they are talking about not taxing groceries, and we've lived in states where they did not have tax on groceries. But it's really interesting. Our daughter had a bladder infection at one time, and she had to drink cranberry juice. So I went to the store, bought a big gallon of cranberry juice, and when I was going through the checkout, I was charged tax on the cranberry juice, and I said, "That's food." And they said, "No, it has sugar in it." So if you they tax soft drinks and sugar and anything that had sugar in it, they would tax.
Can you imagine having a store and you just sell stuff and people buy it and nobody worries about what's in it, and then somebody comes along and says, "Oh, we're going to save you money on taxes, so we're going to drop the tax on groceries."
I'm in line.
And so
that's ridiculous about the sugar content being in it.
Well, now that
sugar in it.
Then I understand the new regulations are that you're taxed on everything except what's in the what do they call it, the whatever the welfare food, whatever food you can SNAP, whatever you can buy with SNAP benefits. So if you have food stamps, whatever you can buy with food stamps is not taxed. Whatever you cannot buy with food stamps is taxed. And
I think they had to come along and take the sweet drinks and all that stuff out of SNAP too, because up until I think this year they couldn't get that.
Yeah, and candy and potato chips and things like that. Another interesting story, when we were still in college and I was pregnant with our second child, and I was standing in line at the grocery store getting ready to pay, and it was every month we had $0 at the end of the month. We had to wait till the first of the month to be able to buy anything. And so here I was standing there with just exactly what we could afford to buy to feed our family. And there was a woman in front of me, and she had this huge bag of dog food sitting on the counter, and she wanted to pay for it with food stamps. And the cashier said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we can't take food stamps for dog food."
Mm-hmm.
And so this went on and on for a while, but then there was only one line, so I had to watch the whole thing. Well, anyway, so the woman said, "Okay, I'm not going to." She took the bag and threw it on the floor, and she said, "I'm going to go get steak. My dog likes steak, and food stamps will pay for steak, right?" And so the woman walked out. We hadn't had, I think the only beef we had in like 2 years was ground beef, and fortunately it was inexpensive. Here this woman was with these steaks for her dogs. So, anytime you have something like that, a government program, there are ways to get around it, and they're not nice. So, and
yeah, I'll just spend the money on the steaks for my dog instead of the dog foods. That's just a bunch of nonsense. I watched this. This was something several years ago. I think probably in maybe the early 90s. It was a 2020 segment. And so they were interviewing like men who work for the trash department, they're picking up trash. And so they asked them a few questions, and what they had in common is they asked the questions from what income do you see the most food waste? You would think the poor income folks would be like eating every drop of every, whatever. And he said that they all said the same thing all the way across the board. The middle income people had the less trash. They were saving everything. I mean, like, what else can I cook out of this? Can we go on ahead and cook the bone also? And by the way, that makes really good, so it does make the best. I got to say that. I know that. I'm a middle income person. So what they were noticing, it was the lower income areas where they would see like half of a ham in the trash that hadn't been eaten. And these were people who were getting the food stamps and the welfare.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to earn it. It was just given to them. Like when you earn and you work for a living and you work really hard, you're pretty good at saving every dime. My family makes fun of me. I mean, it was just like, I bet she squeaks when she walks. She's so tight with her money. No, I probably do. But something, we got a little bit of a savings going on there because we don't waste it. But the point from the sanitation department was we saw the waste in the lower income families.
I had a friend who was a teacher, and she said she was so disgusted with these, people would bring in like winter coats and things for the children who didn't have any. And she said, I am not ever going to give to any of these programs again. And I said, well, why not? I said, you want children to go out and be, and she said, no. She said, what happens is if their coat got dirty, they'd leave it because they knew they would get another one free, and they get a new one. Yeah. So, I'm not all people do that. There are
some people are appreciative,
right? But there is that incentive, and it becomes ingrained in the family, and they pass that on to their children that you don't have to work; the government will take care of you. And I really think that's what's going on in New York City and California. So
can you see me if I were head of a department of such an organization like that? This is what I would do. I'm sorry. I hate to be people, but if you had like the false eyelashes that cost $200 to get, and you got to get them updated every few weeks, or if you had like really long fingernails, you had tattoos all over yourself, I'd probably say, honey, you got a savings problem. You need to go out and get a job. We're going to give you some classes. They're going to be free. You don't have to pay for these classes. We're going to teach you a better money management. And if they go out, like this one woman came to, I was in the benevolence committee one time at church. I got pretty disgusted because people would come in, well, I want, my power bill is about to be turned off. I got to where they didn't like me being on it because I would ask questions. I would say, do you have cable? And if they said they had cable, I'd say, you need to turn the cable off. I mean, I'm just being blunt with you. You can do without cable. You don't need it. I would rather have electricity and have my home warm in the wintertime and cooler in the summertime. I mean, I just got to where I was blunt. And before they fired me from that position, I just went on and just quit. I said, y'all going to let me go anyway.
Donna, do you know when we got cable? It was when our son came home from college, and he had gotten used to it, so he bought it.
We had cable once. We don't have it now. We just use Roku because first of all, I like Roku, and Fox is buying them out, by the way. And I think it's the wise decision on their part because I think everything's going to that anyway. But let me tell you why I'm really not just saving money. I'm still a tightwad. It's not just I don't want to pay an extra $100 a month to watch television. I like Roku because it's part of the internet. I've got internet, got really good internet. I want to plan when I watch Andy Griffith. I don't want to have to wait and watch Andy Griffith at 6 o'clock because I'm probably busy doing something else about the show. And I'm probably not going to have time I can't stop what I'm doing to watch Andy Griffith. So at 11 o'clock at night, I want to watch your Andy Griffith rerun. I can turn on my Roku channel, go to Pluto, and I can watch Andy Griffith.
Do you know, Donna, there's a whole generation of children who have no idea what you're talking about.
For you youngsters,
Anywho.
we'll have a show about this.
Yeah.
But true, think about it. Okay, so even watching, if you're paying cable, you're paying it for somebody else's schedule. It's not your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It never fits with my schedule because I work odd hours. With a show, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know a lot of people in the world do. They work night shift or they work whatever shift. And so it's time, if you want things convenient for yourself and for your family, think about those little things and you'll save money at the same time.
Yeah. I didn't even know they had cable anymore. I thought everything was streaming.
No, there's still cable.
Is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For people that don't know what Roku is a wonderful, and I make no commission off of this. Okay. Roku is a wonderful thing. Amazon Fire is too.
Mm-hmm.
It's your schedule. You can watch it when you want to watch it. One of my favorite movies is Space Cowboys. I love this. Y'all watch Space?
Yeah.
I've seen it. Yeah, but it was back when we had to. It was on schedule because we had to go to the theater to see it.
Oh man, it's wonderful. It's like the more I watch it, the more Phil and I are fitting in with the Space Cowboys. Like we're older now. And so it's just like we laugh at like young people, the things they do. Not all young people, like the homeschooled ones are like I was back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
The homeschool kids are like the smartest there is, and some private schools are really good at that too. But Space Cowboys is pretty good. And if you guys will just go back, you young folks, watch Space Cowboys. You'll get what I'm saying.
What other good subjects do you have there in the questions?
He wants a question.
Yeah, we need a question.
Let's go. Okay, pre-beat. We done talked about that. Oh, this is a good one. Would seniors living on Social Security benefit from the fair tax?
Yes, because
Absolutely.
they get the prebate.
Yeah, they get the prebate. If they have any kind of an IRA, it would not be taxed until they spend the money on new goods and services. It would be like having a Roth IRA. And actually better because I think a Roth is limited to the amount that you can contribute.
To be truthful, there wouldn't be any need for 401ks because you got no taxes to pay
right
on the money you make. Mm-hmm. So all of that stuff will become a moot point. But you'll have, if it works out right, when the switchover happens, all the money you've got in your 401ks, be it Roth or whatever, it's your money. Mm-hmm. And so when you spend it, you're not going to pay a big tax on it. You'll pay the fair tax on what you spend when you buy some new good or service for your personal use.
And there's no penalty for if you're 30 and you take money out of your IRA. There's no penalty because it's your money.
Like
we say down south, it's your money.
I would have to get used to that because after 67 years of it not really feeling like my money. And, even after you get it back, because you're still paying, you're being taxed to death. Okay, taxes are taken out of your check. Then you pay taxes to buy stuff. Right. Then, and then if I have a CD and I take it out early, I'm penalized. All these different things,
If you invest your money, you have to pay exorbitant taxes. If you buy a house and then when you sell it, you have to pay the taxes on the money that was already taxed when you paid for the house. You have to pay it again. And there's nothing, I honestly can think of nothing good about the income tax. I really can't.
I can't either. I think it was good stuff for fair tax. So this is another great question right here. And this is about somebody who said, okay, my wife and I are thinking about selling our home. When we bought it back in the 80s, we bought it for $160,000. Now the realtor is telling us our house, we could probably easily sell it for $400,000. How would fair tax affect that?
It wouldn't, other than the fact that you would get the whole $400,000 and then you wouldn't be taxed until you spend it.
Less whatever cost it was to sell the house.
Yeah.
Well, and the point is, you use goods and services. A house that's been lived in is used goods. So. Well,
see, and you wouldn't have to worry about. That's another point, but also you wouldn't have to worry about. My God, I made a profit. The IRS is going to be when I get my taxes done. I'm going to have to pay taxes on.
Yeah.
That on the profit I've made.
Yeah, that if you made any profit on it, that goes right into your bank account or wherever you want to put it, and it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you spend it on new goods and services for personal use, that's when you get taxed on it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's somebody that has they're very positive about his wishes. And then we're going to have to go into a commercial break. He says, when I win the lottery, if I'm on fair tax, do I keep it all?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you
you
keep
do.
it until you spend it.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's yours, and then you pay a tax when you buy new goods and services. If you buy used goods, do you remember who was it that ran for Ross Perot?
Oh, I love it.
Drove an old Chevrolet. I mean, he was a self-made millionaire, and he bought used everything. If he could have had the fair, I don't know why he was for the fair tax.
He would have been all for it. Card toting. I am fair tax all the way. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. I always think about too, Mr. Walton, Sam Walton. That he drove around in an old truck.
Ford truck, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, some people are just conditioned, because I've been divorced before, and I grew up, we weren't millionaires or anything like that, but Dad always had a really good job, and so, and Mother worked, she had a career. So like, we didn't grow up like, not being able to eat. There was always meat on every meal, and I wore nice clothes and all that stuff. But when you get a divorce, I'm going to tell you what, it'll straighten you out just a little bit. And so I didn't get child support. I didn't get any kind of help whatsoever. But you know what? When you toughen up and you make it work, you're going to be very, very careful. But this would have been ideal when I was divorced. I'm just telling you what, because I made a lot of money, but a lot of money came out too.
Yep.
So if you've ever been in that situation, you will embrace fair tax.
Well, not only that, the privacy too. The government has to know every single thing, all your actions.
Did I have a yard sale and I'm living in a particular, just little silly things like that, like the little chihuahua that bites at your heels.
Yep,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you take money out of the bank, they want to know why. It's just the federal government it has become very, very powerful, and we've allowed that, thinking that we're doing the right thing. And if you believe in privacy, the fair tax is absolutely your man. The only information you have to give in order to get the prebate, and that is how many people in your family, and that's it. And you have to give the Social Security numbers of each person, and
no, you got to prove you're a U.S. citizen.
You have to be a U.S. citizen. And in Alabama, with the Alabama fair tax, it would be you have to prove you're a resident of Alabama. So
Plus be a U.S. citizen.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
That's this.
Yeah, we need to say that.
I got to read this. This is kind of something to do with fair tax, kind of. So I had someone pay me something in cash. It was like $2,000. I go to the bank to make the deposit. They treated me like I might be a drug dealer or something.
Yeah.
It was like, she said, "Oh, we can't you're going to have to go inside to make this deposit." And I'm like, "Excuse me?" I was at the drive-through and I said, "I'm not taking out $2,000. I'm putting in $2,000. It was like I was some kind of a criminal. So, I mean, what was that all about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're clamping down on movement of money by everyday normal people.
Yeah. If you take a certain amount of money out each, large amount each week or each month, they call that structuring. If you take it all out at one time, they want to know why. It's supposedly it has to do with money laundering. I think there are other ways. I mean, there are other ways to handle that.
And I get myself in trouble because I would say, you know what? That's a NOYB.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, "What's an NOYB? None of your business."
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's not.
My money. But
any money that you put in the bank, I didn't know this until recently. It no longer is your money. It's the bank's money. Mm-hmm. Now, the incentive is that you'll make a certain amount of interest and so on, and supposedly you can take it out whenever you want to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but try taking out a large amount. We had a neighbor in Ohio when we lived there. This was in the 70s, and she sold her house, and I don't remember what the amount was, but it was over $100,000 at the time, and she said, "I'd never seen that much money." She said, "I went to the bank and I wanted to draw it out so I could actually hold that," and they wouldn't let her do it.
No.
So
they probably didn't have enough money to cover it. and the rest of the work.
Yeah, because it was on something else. Probably.
Yeah. Apparently, when Obama sent those pallets of money to Iran, they had to clear out every bank around Washington D.C. of cash in order to make that pallet of money.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Don't get me started on that now.
I know.
Okay, let's go this is a good time for me to go into a commercial break before I say something that gets the show shut down. Okay, let's go to a break. We'll be right back. You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to. Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna Says Television, Radio, and Podcast Talk Show. Thank you so much for being with us. Chuck and Marilyn Bailey are with us, and they are from Alabama Fair Tax. What's the website? How can folks find out more information about Fair Tax?
Fair Tax is fairtax.org, and there's just a plethora of information about Fair Tax. And as a matter of fact, they put articles up to show how the tax system is changing and the stupid stuff that goes on. But you can also find the original work that was done to come up with the Fair Tax. And there's several things. There's a couple of videos. One is what is the fair tax, and the other one, and they're only about a minute or so you get a lot of information in a minute. And the second one is about the prebate. So if you want to really understand the prebate, you go out to fairtax.org and look in there for the videos on prebate.
They have white papers too on almost every topic. If you're a lawyer, or if you're a doctor, if you're a salesman, discuss how the fair tax affects you.
Right.
So
even I think there's one or two on the foreign business, foreign trade. Talking about what would happen if the fair tax was in place, how that would affect trade, and it's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. It actually does level the playing field with.
And the point is, you don't get taxed on anything in the U.S. under the fair tax until you spend money to buy it. And so, if I'm shipping a car to Europe, well, it won't have all that income tax stuff in the price of the car, because all that tax and everything follows the vehicle. And so, you're trying to sell a $15,000 car in Europe, but it's actually going to cost $20,000 because all the taxes and everything are tacked onto it. And so that $15,000 would be what they sell that car or send it off to Germany or wherever.
What he's talking about too, though, is the embedded taxes. And embedded taxes are those taxes that are just a cost at every level of production, and that's another reason why the income tax is really bad. If you're a farmer and you buy wheat, a seed, for instance, you pay the tax. You also, anyone you have working for, you pay the Social Security and Medicare. Then that is cost of doing business. So that is added on to the price of the wheat that you grow and sell. And then when whoever buys the wheat makes bread, they have to pay the people that they employ Social Security and Medicare. They also pay for the wheat, and then they pay their income taxes and so on. And that's the cost of doing business, and it's passed on. So we actually have what I call a virtual VAT in the United States right now. At every level of production, you are paying Social Security, Medicare, and income tax. and then you pay the taxes. You tax that tax at the next level. So it's insidious, and why people put up with it, I do not know. I mean, I truly don't know why we don't have people out screaming for the fair tax.
Well,
Right.
I am. I mean, I'm out here, I'm screaming. And this is another good question for you right here. Let's see. Could the fair tax encourage companies to bring manufacturing back here to the United States?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that and regulations are important too, because there are states that have the fewest regulations. For instance, Texas, you can start up a business in a very short amount of time. Out in California, it takes a year, 2 years to do this, to accomplish the same thing. So regulations are important, but taxes, absolutely. I mean, if you look at what's happening with the taxes, you can just look here in the United States. The states that have the lowest income tax, the lowest taxes, are the places where people are moving.
Yeah. So you if you look at the tariffs that Trump put in place, that caused a lot of the industry to move back to the U.S. of A. And could you imagine if you take off all the taxes of making anything, you're going to have people. You have people moving their business from their country to here to take advantage of no tax on anything that they produce.
Well, a lot of the countries will actually remove the tax, the VAT.
Yeah, the VAT gets taken off before it's shipped.
Yeah, before they ship it, so that lowers the cost of that item. And in the United States, we don't take the income tax out of.
There's no mechanism to take it out.
No.
But that was the other half of shipping a car over there. When they ship a car here, they got to pay the fair tax. Whoever buys that car has got to pay fair tax on it.
New car.
So that a new car. So that kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah, I can see where that would work. Okay, how might fair tax affect job creation and wages?
Same deal.
Yeah, when you have new businesses starting up, they need people to work.
When a person has his paycheck, he has his full paycheck. That means it's gone up. You know, his paycheck is worth 30% more, and the reason is because of the income tax. And if you look at the income tax now and Social Security and all that, it adds up to 30%.
Yeah, well, just ask any young person who gets a job. they think they're working for a certain amount of money per hour, and then when they get their check, they find out, well, Mr. FICA got his cut first.
So that would make a great deal of difference. You'd be able to hire more people, and you'd have more money, and so you're going to want to go out and buy more stuff. That's going to increase desire for having a lot of people work for you.
Yeah, that's how businesses become large businesses.
This is an interesting question that came too. I just now saw, like I told you, I haven't read the questions yet, but this is a good one right here. In lieu of people who don't want to work anymore, if they get a wage and they are not having to pay taxes on it, you think this might bring those people back into the workforce? You think that, in other words, I think what they're saying is, would this encourage people who haven't wanted to work to work?
All right, you have to be a legal citizen of the United States, have a Social Security number and a legal address, and you can get the rebate. That's just the way it works.
Okay, she said she was up there just.
You get the rebate, and the rebate's going to cover up to the poverty level. So if that person's got a job and it's less than the poverty level, they're not going to pay any taxes, and that's they're going to see. Wait a minute, if I work a little harder and I can save more money and not get ripped off taxes because I've made a little more money, well then I'm going to have some incentive to work harder and do better.
Yeah, the other thing too is and this isn't the fair tax, but welfare and just government money, other people's money paying other people. It is never a good thing. If you go to the zoo, you'll see signs, "Don't feed the animals," because those animals will learn that they don't have to, or especially wild animals. because they don't have to, do the things that they need to do in order to survive. What we've done, and again, the Fabian Socialists. Interesting fact, though, Keir Starmer was the head of the Fabian Society in England before he became. And if you're not familiar with the Fabian Socialists, that's George Orwell, Shaw, George Bernard Shaw, those people who were pro-communist. The Fabian Socialists it's a society, and interestingly, their crest is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They couldn't be more honest about what they are.
Feeding, yeah, and really, most people, if you just listen to them, they'll tell you what their agenda is.
Exactly, and that is what has been infecting our country, especially since 1913. It's all part and parcel of the same thing. And they wrote the story. I mean, George Orwell wrote 1984 and Animal Farm. I honestly do not understand how an English teacher who teaches Animal Farm could be a liberal. I honestly do not have any understanding of how that could occur. But no, they're very honest about what they are doing, but people are very easily lulled into, you get free things. If you get free things, if you're,
Nothing.
What's the saying in the animal farms? All people are equal except those.
Some people are more equal than others.
Yeah, some
yeah. So yeah, another.
They're telling you what they're writing. What they're writing about. They're telling
you. They say, and you're not going to be one of us.
Right.
We will take from you. We will take from you, and you'll be a peasant all your entire life. That's not what Phil and I have laughed about this reincarnation. I don't believe in reincarnation, and I'll tell you one big reason why I don't. Everybody who does believe in reincarnation, they've always been a goddess in a former life.
Yeah.
And nobody was a peasant like I probably was. but I'm just telling you, it goes on. And then also the people who believe in this also say, well, people get better. No, they don't. We're not getting better. We're getting worse as people. I'm just telling you, the old farmer back in the 1930s and the 1940s, I would love to be able to talk with them and get advice about farming.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to say they did it the hard way. They did it right.
They knew how to do it.
They knew how to make it. And I'm just going to tell you, farmers and preppers I love having those folks on the show, just like I like having y'all on the show. And the reason why is because it's real stuff, and it's real common sense type stuff. And I think that's what people are liking, and I think that's what they like to see now. We're beginning to get a revival of people who want to say, well, because I'm seeing a few younger people turning around about gardening. I've got a lot of gardening shows, and a lot of responses coming from younger people who want to know because their parents and their grandparents got lazy and didn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what it's all about. Guys, we're going to have to go. How can folks find out more information from you?
Well, the fairtax.org is for the National Fair Tax, and alfairtax.org is for the Alabama Economic Freedom Act. So,
let me just say that if you go to alfairtax.org and read Understanding the Alabama Economic Freedom Act, you'll get a pretty good idea of what the fair tax is all about. This is specific to Alabama, but it also is generalizing it. It's the fair tax. It's a short read.
It's the way to do it. I'd love to see South Carolina get it first, because we'll just compete with you guys. If South Carolina gets it first, the bigger business will come here first, right?
That's right.
I at this point, I don't care who gets it first. I just want someone to get it, because I love this country.
It'll lead the way.
And I would love to see the world adopt a fair tax, because it takes power away from individuals and gives it to the people.
That's the way it's got to be. Guys, thank you again so much for being with us. And thank you guys so much for watching. We definitely appreciate that. Continue sending email. Chuck and Mary Lynn, love that. Donna at donnasedge.com. Donna at donnasedge.com. Thanks for watching.
Lowe's knows that the projects you build in spring are the ones you can't wait to share. It's why we make sure you have our best deals with My Lowe's Rewards, and that you get help from people who've
been there,
done that.
Try this.
This spring, we'll help you build something rewarding.
Hey, Stan. What's up? I made you something. Oh, thank you. And I got something for you. You grew these? Of course.
Lowe's knows how to help you spring.